The government has no use for people who are smart. That's why social media has become so addictive. Like, that's not by accident. Social media is purposefully addictive and it's making you dumb. Anti-intellectualism is not something that happened by accident, it's an agenda. Like, capitalism has no use for a smart people. So now we are in a period where you have to actually involve yourself in extracurricular activities that tune up your brain and keep you smart, when 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, people literally used to pick up a book when they were bored. They used to go to the library when they were bored. They used to go on walks and craft and things like that. They used to create when they were bored. These are all things that are good for your brain's health. This is good for your cognitive health. And now we have to actually force ourselves to do those things, because we're in a period where the government wants us to be addicted to them damn phones. And I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but it's not a theory, it's the truth.
She's absolutely right. Welcome to the dumbing down of the masses. They don't want you to think on your own. They don't want you to be aware of global affairs. They don't want you to know what's going on in your community. They don't want you to be informed about the monetary system. They don't want you to be informed about what's going on in your state, your country, your local community. They would rather you not be informed about anything at all, because why? This creates the perfect slave system. And this is what I've been warning you guys about. Excuse my voice, I'm recovering, but I still had to film this video. This makes the perfect slave system, right? Where we are right now in this period of time, we're going to see a new slave system because of anti-intellectualism. For the first time ever in history, right, it is being praised on a massive level, not understanding the facts, right? On a massive level, for the first time in history, people are sidestepping statistics. People don't want to know the statistics. People don't want to know the facts. People don't want to pick up a book. People don't want to read. They want the media and they want social media, right, and the politicians to do all of the thinking for them. They don't want to think. People in general today, they don't want to think about anything. They don't want to use the brain cells that they have left, right? Because most people's brain cells are fried from scrolling through social media, from digesting chemicals, from being on antipsychotics, right? Antidepressants, right? Many people's brain cells are already fried. So the little bit of brain cells that people have left, they don't want to use them. They don't want to use them at all. They would rather not, right? And this is the world that we live in now. Welcome. Welcome to the new world, where if you think for yourself, if you stand out amongst the crowd, if you actually use your brain, right? If you actually use your brain, if you actually think, right, you will be ridiculed, right? If you actually do some research, you will actually be ridiculed and people will make fun of you, right? When you try to present facts, people don't want to hear that. I've learned that in today's time, people would rather be lied to. And I blame this on a comfort society, especially in America. We stay in such disillusionment, right? We're so obsessed with comfort, regardless of if it's all a lie. We're addicted to comfort. We're addicted to a false sense of safety, right? Thinking anything else outside of that bubble, right? People will malfunction. I've seen it firsthand, right? If you say anything against America, right? If you think outside of, oh, America's the best country in the world, America's the best place to live, so on and so forth. If you try to challenge that, many people will try to give you, they will malfunction. They will malfunction like robots, right? They don't know how to handle that. And then on top of that, they can't even give you proper answers to really combat what you just said in the first place. Welcome to anti-intellectualism. We've been here, right? It's been a long time coming. What happens when you distract a society in mass? What happens when you give a society comfort in mass? What happens when you give a society a false sense of safety in mass? What happens when you don't require a society to think in mass? Right? And people keep wondering, like, okay, how long is this going to go on? How long is turmoil going to keep going on? How long is injustice going to keep going on? Right? How long are we going to keep letting evil get away with things? How long are we going to keep letting pedophiles get away with things? How long are we going to let them continue to bend us over, right, and pull our hair? Pause, no diddy. How long is it going to keep on happening? Well, it's going to keep on happening because nobody wants to stand out. Nobody wants to be the person that stands out and challenge the quote unquote system. Nobody wants to be the one that actually thinks, right? And this is why you will see people who are actually thinkers, people who are actually building things, right? The movers and shakers of society, they rarely have any friends. They rarely have any people around them. Why? Because it's not productive. Why? Because the majority of people don't want to think. The majority of people don't want to do anything. The majority of people don't want to use their mind, right? If you're a thinker in today's society, more than likely you probably get hated on. More than likely you're probably solo dolo, right? You're always the one thinking outside the box. You're always the one using common sense. Common sense isn't common nowadays at all. At all. People are so infatuated with lies. People are so infatuated with comfort, right? And it's so weird. It's so weird because a lie in today's time is more believable than the truth. And I don't know if it's because people don't want to digest the truth. I don't know if it's just people can't handle the truth. I don't know what it is. But when you hit people upside the head with the truth, you would think that a asteroid or something came crashing down. It's like people are bamboozled when you actually tell them the truth, right? Let me sip of water, sip some water. People are actually taken aback when you tell them the truth about yourself, themselves, and what's going on around them. It's like we stay in a real life idiocracy where the idiots are running society, right? Or the perceived idiots, right? And listen, there is no beating them, right? When a massive amount of people, right? When a massive amount of people are gun-hoed on being stupid, not thinking, not producing, not building, leave them to their vices. Let them go, right? And that's one thing you guys need to understand. There is no saving the common man. I want y'all to go ahead and let that go. There is no saving the common man. That's why you have, all of these YouTube channels, right? They continue to rage bait. They continue to push narratives that don't help the common man at all, right? It's essentially comfort, right? It's essentially they're not challenging the status quo. They're not challenging men, right? You have channels like Legion of Incels, right? And many more. Legion of Incels is not helping the common man, right? He's just rage baiting. He's just getting you, up in arms about something. He's feeding you the same old narratives with no solution in sight. His whole goal is to continue to feed you garbage, just the same as society is doing right now. The same thing the pharmaceutical companies are doing. The same thing Coca-Cola is doing. The same thing the big corporations are doing. It's the same old game. They're just feeding men disillusionment. They're feeding men comfort. They're feeding men what they want to feed them, right? And we wonder why, since the red pill has come about into popularity, we wonder why nothing has changed. We wonder why men are actually in a worse predicament than they were just 5, 6 years ago. Men are worse off. Absolutely. Men are worse off because men have not learned anything. Men have got sucked up into the comfort lifestyle, right? It's easy to get sucked up into anti-intellectualism where you don't have to think. That's easy, right? Because here's the thing about thinking. There's pros and cons to being a thinker. There's pros and cons to thinking outside the box, right? And one of those big cons is you see the world exactly for what it is, right? And that can actually be a very hard pill to swallow. Sometimes you want to go back. Sometimes you want to unsee what you see. But once you see, there is no going back. And I've far exceeded that time period in my life. There was once upon a time where, you just start thinking so much, right? You just start questioning everything, right? But then soon enough, you get the answers. Sometimes you get answers that you didn't want the answer to, right? And then now you get stuck in this rage, you get stuck in this hate, you get stuck in this mode where it's like, why is the world like this? Then you get stuck trying to awaken everybody per se. But then you just have to come to the conclusion where the majority wasn't meant to be awakened. Hard pill to swallow. The majority wasn't meant to be awakened. The majority were meant to be exactly where they are in life. Maybe you were meant for something greater. I, for damn sure, was meant for something greater. So this was destined for me. This was ordained for me. But what I had to come to understand is the same path that I am taking is not meant for others. It is not. So I stopped trying to think for others. I stopped trying to push just tippity top line of thinking, right? Superior thinking. I stopped trying to push that amongst people. Because you just got to understand, just like the fat Sloppaloposaurus, who's okay with eating his Burger King, who's okay with eating his fries and his milkshake, right? He's okay with that. This is what I had to learn. It's not that people don't want to be where they are. No, a lot of people actually want to be exactly where they are in life. I've met homeless people. They don't want to be saved. There are plenty of homeless people who want to be on the streets. They want to eat out of a garbage can. They want to sit on the street and beg for money. They don't want you to save them. They want to be exactly where they are in life, right? And this is what you got to understand about the world around you. Most people don't want to be saved. Only focus on the people who want to be saved. Only focus on the people who want to maneuver in this new world. This is my whole message right now. I am only focused on the ones who want to maneuver in life. Because more and more people are going to get sucked into comfort. And when I say comfort, I'm really talking about anti-intellectualism. I'm talking about the system thinking for you, breathing for you, doing everything for you, right? UBI, you name it. This is what's going to happen. More and more people, we're already seeing it. The average everyday person just walking around willy-nilly. They don't understand what's going on. Did you see my spring break episode where the news anchor from Fox News was asking, right? College-age students, these are supposed to be our intellectuals. These are supposed to be our future leaders. They're supposed to be in a mode where they're always thinking. This is the innovation period of life for human beings, especially when you're in college. So the fact that college-age students are not even thinking, they don't care to think. They don't know what's going on around you. right? They don't know what's going on around them. They don't know what's going on with global affairs. They don't know how Iran is affecting their daily life. They don't have a clue about what's going on. Nothing. That's not a coincidence. That is something that is being pushed heavily. And also, what did I tell you? It is the extinguishment, if that's a word, right? The American willpower, the American fire, the fire spirit that was once in Americans, it has been extinguished. Right? That is what has kept America such a stronghold for all of these decades. Our ability to continue to think, our ability to continue to innovate, our ability to continue to progress. But that's not the case anymore. Those days are over with. So this video is meant for those of you who see it coming, those of you who are experiencing it all around you. I'm seeing it all around me. People are dumb. People are stupid. People are idiots, literally. Right? Those are such strong words, but you have to use strong words to describe such a uncomfortable time period. What a majority of people you can't even talk to. You can't have real conversations about. They would rather talk to you about football, March Madness. I don't care about that shit. I don't know who play for who, right? I don't know what. The last Super Bowl I watched was the Falcons and the Patriots, which was damn near 5-6 years ago. Last Super Bowl I watched. I don't have time to watch those Super Bowl. I don't have time to see what LeBron is doing and when he's going to retire. I don't have a damn clue about what's going on in any sports, because sports don't matter. Sports are for two people, right? Sports are for the super rich, right? Because it's leisure, and for the super poor. That is it. That is it. Sports is for the leisure class and for the idiots, right? If you're building, you don't have time for that. If you're creating, you don't have time for that. If you're en route, you don't have time for that, right? Welcome to the new world, ladies and gentlemen. You better get used to it. Don't think that you're going to just get a bunch of friends. Don't think you're just going to make a bunch of friends. You might as well go ahead and throw that friend shit away. Go ahead and throw that family shit away, unless you make your family. But for the most part, you're on your own. And that's an after pill. Listen, the after pill is the ideology. The escape blueprint is the framework. And PFP life is how you should live. Purpose, freedom, and power. Make sure you join the family in the Patreon. Link is in the description. Join the Telegram. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I built a life. I built a family. I worked my hands raw to get here. And I'm not done. This is the escape blueprint. PFP life. A way out of the grind and into control. You'll learn how I stack cash, build systems, and reclaim time so you can live on your own terms. You will watch me maneuver and grind towards the life that I achieve for myself, and you can also do the same. Join the circle, join the Patreon, learn the steps, and protect your freedom. The escape blueprint, PFP life.